Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren. Oh, Lauren is not here for this part. Okay. We'll catch up with her in a bit. You'll find Wilder Show podcast on Instagram. Search Wilder Show Pod. And you'll like it, and we appreciate that. I mean, like, subscribe, and all that. If you want to send us email, just email the podcast at wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time, or before on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, sometimes on the TikTok. Wherever you get your podcast, would you like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share, and we will really appreciate that. Well, we have a full plate to get to today. Let's see if we can fit any of it in. Knicks fans, what a game the other night. What a game. Taylor Swift, thank you. Breaking the Trump curse. Knicks now just one game away from taking it all. I was really hoping for, of course, I'm always hoping for just more basketball. So that's the deal. I was in Chicago for that game, and I was at a sports place, and a lot of people were for the Knicks. And it wasn't that I was not for the Knicks. It was that the Knicks were leading 2-1 in the series, and I want more basketball. I mean, if the Mavericks aren't in it, I just want as many games as possible. So always kind of root for whoever needs to win to keep it going to get to a 7-game series. This will not now, I don't think, last and be a 7-game series. It was a comeback. I mean, the Spurs had the lead, 29 points. See, the Spurs know how to take the lead. They just don't know how to hold the lead. And that's really the most important part of the lead, the holding. All roads lead to Seinfeld since he was there. The war, speaking of Seinfeld, these pretzels are making me thirsty. Iran and the U.S. trading missiles after downing of the U.S. helicopter. This all in the middle of the so-called ceasefire. President says the bully of the Middle East is dead. They've taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. Many exclamation marks. Also on Fox News, the president said he may keep going, that he might target power plants. They had a chance to sign, but they didn't. So he's looking at going back in. Of course, this is the 38th time, literally. Actually, that was. There are more since then. We'll get to that. The 38th time with this kind of threat. As we talked about before, threats are only powerful to motivate if they are believed. But this is where we are. The war is over. The war is not over. We'll obliterate you. Nothing happens. They want to make a deal very badly. They don't. And so it goes. Early in the day yesterday, in an interview on Fox News, the president said, make a deal today or tonight we will bomb the out of you. After that, yesterday, the president posted, see if any of this sounds like it's something you would not believe. The United States will be hitting Iran very hard tonight. At some point in the not-too-distant future, we will be taking Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume control of their oil and gas markets. Anybody believe any of that? He says, much like we have done in Venezuela. Who told you he's always comparing this to Venezuela? Here's what he said. Much like we have done in Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for Venezuela and the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Okay. Then the president posts this. I mean, that was posted in the 7 o'clock hour. A couple of hours later, here's what he wrote. Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. Discussions and final points have been, in both concept and great detail, approved by all parties involved. Time and place of the signing to be announced shortly. There is not any of that I believe. Not any of it. Now the president's claiming that the deal with Iran can be signed this weekend. Let me guess, something will happen and it will fall apart at the last minute. Then we can threaten to attack them again and then call it off again. And then there'll be another deal about to happen within days and something will happen. It reminds me of being on a plane. There's a slight delay. Captain comes over on the PA after everyone is already boarded. And he says, there's just some final paperwork that needs to be taken care of. There will be a brief delay, maybe 15 minutes. Then we'll get you on your way. 17 minutes later, another announcement about just waiting a little longer for the maintenance guys to do some final checks. Want to make sure to keep you safe as you fly. We should be wheels up in about the next 10 to 15 minutes. And on and on and on it goes. I know very few people who have traveled by plane on a regular basis who, when the pilot gives that first announcement, those people would believe it really is going to be one delay for 15 minutes. And all these from the president are that. Oh, one more thing. Never fear. The president actually said this today. Listen, this is a quote. The deal is completely done, subject to finalization. Isn't that like a guy saying, she and I will be getting married, subject to finalization? Are you engaged? No, we haven't done that part yet. Are you dating her? No, not steady. Have you ever been on a date with her? No, but we are getting married, subject to finalization. The primary, Platner has won, so it'll be Graham Platner seeking to win the Senate seat from Susan Collins in Maine. There are also legitimate challenges in Ohio, in Alaska, as you know, in Texas. People don't appear to care about the skunkiness of Platner. Republicans say they should, but Republicans don't have much to stand on, do they? No moral footing, given who we are supporting or who we have supported before. And if you go back years where the GOP had arguably the moral high ground, let's say that the days of Clinton, the days where Bush was coming next and he was seen as and sold as the candidate of character. Then we had Obama. Hillary was running against Trump, and people were freaked out at the thought that Hillary could have a third term for Obama. So all those who didn't want Hillary were all in for Trump, warts and all the skunkiness was accepted. It was accepted by voters, by endorsers. It was also accepted by faith leaders, the same ones who touted just a decade before about character counts and family values. They just set all of that aside when it came to Trump. Not only voted for him, but sold him as the answer. We're very quick to say this time, we're electing a president, not a pastor. They hopped on board the Trump train, not because of who he is, but because of what he could do for the causes they say they believe in. But that was never a rationale that was acceptable to them when other people were doing the same thing and voting Democrat. I don't like all the things about Clinton, but I like what he did as a leader. That's not what they accepted. They said things like, if his wife can't trust him, what makes you think you can trust him? Character counts. All of that disappeared when Trump cleared the decks in the primary. All of a sudden, all of that reasoning, all of that moralizing, all of that higher ground and character counts and family values disappeared. Biden gets in 2020. Trump trolls Biden and the Dems for 4 years, talking about stolen elections and all, and basically gearing up for another campaign. And the whole time, no one dares run against him. He wins again with expectation he will do what he did the first time. I don't think we're seeing that. But finding a way to accept all those things we fought against for all that time opened up a door that I don't think will close anytime soon, if ever. A bit of a Pandora's box. Democrats stand for a Senate candidate in Maine with a Nazi hit squad tattoo on his chest, who has all kinds of skunky things that should be disqualifying. Polls are showing that people don't care about all the other stuff as long as you talk about doing things that they want you to do. Texas has a Democrat running for the Senate who should be able to be defeated, but Tellerico, it turns out, will be formidable. You don't want to hear that, I know, but he will be formidable. And to take him on, Republicans wanting to punish Cornyn for not being Trumpy enough, voted in someone in that runoff, someone else with closets, inside closets, to take on Tellerico. They could have had someone they wanted less, but someone who could have more easily and cheaply taken on Tellerico, but no, they overlooked the skunkiness of Paxton and will now have to spend 3 times the money to have the chance to win in November. So what do all these things have in common? They owe a debt of gratitude to Trump, I think, and all who no longer talked about character. When that barrier was broken, when the GOP lost the moral high ground, when they no longer talked about that, it makes it much easier to put up a flawed candidate on the GOP side to take on the flawed candidates on the other side. And with a very razor-thin margin in the Senate, that one thing, the loss of the high ground and the coarsening of what even pastors and faith leaders have accepted and endorsed and promoted, accepting the unacceptable, excusing the inexcusable, it is what puts Ohio and Alaska and Maine and Texas in play, and it didn't have to be that way. But there's no going back now. Pandora's box. When the primaries are so extreme and so tribal, you can end up with a primary winner actually being a weaker candidate in the general election because they were, on the right or the left, more radical in that comparison in the primary. Tallarico is going to be competitive against Paxton. So bring the Brinks truck because it's going to take some money. And Platner, amazingly, is going to be competitive against Collins. We live in a world where we're hoping a weak rhino candidate like Collins can hold the seat. That's the world we're living in. All of that is what compromising and giving up the high ground hath wrought. Karmello Anthony, you know the story, the track meet murder. Found guilty, sentenced to 35 years. Life without parole, sadly, was not a possibility. He will be eligible for parole in 17 years. The protests outside the courtroom, absolutely ridiculous. After the guilty verdict, one woman protesting said this, "What do you want us to do at this point? I got 5 boys. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more." How about don't murder people? Maybe something like that. This whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. I saw even the father of the victim, not being critical of him, but what he said, I want to clarify a little bit. The father of the victim came out after the verdict and denounced those who, quote, want to make this about race. But I'd say those who want justice are not making it about race. It's those who want to excuse a killer, to set a killer free, to talk about how it wasn't his fault, about he is an innocent teen wrongly convicted. The truth is, and this is hard to hear, I know, but if the victim had been black or if both the victim and the killer had been white, none of those people would have been there protesting. None of them. Look, while I think there have been murders because a person is white, I don't know that this is one of those things. What I do know is that Karmello Anthony wasn't prosecuted because he was black. He was charged, tried, convicted, and sentenced because he was guilty. It is the protesters. They're the ones who are making it about race. We've seen this before. Not really protesters as much as race profiteers. They benefit from the discord. They feed the discord. They are not there seeking justice. Now that he's been found guilty, what am I supposed to tell my 5 boys? The fact that you don't know what to tell them, the fact that you would actually wonder that, and then the fact that you would actually say it out loud on camera can tell us a lot. Not being able to know the lessons here and teaching those lessons to your 5 boys so they will become productive, peaceful members of society makes it actually more likely in the future that you just might be not on the outside of the courthouse as a protester, but in the gallery on the inside of the courthouse, sitting behind the defense table and wondering what you're going to tell your other 4 boys. Just quickly before Scattershoot, the UFC fight on Sunday at the White House in the Octagon, maybe we could have the proxies fight out the war in Iran. That could be, couldn't that? We could make it the undercard. Just designate a fighter representing each country, throw them in the octagon for a steel cage death match. I can picture President Trump wearing a laurel wreath on his head, sitting in a big golden chair, looking down at the arena and contemplating a thumbs up or thumbs down. There are some lawsuits to keep it from happening, the UFC fight, but it's going to happen. Remember when Idiocracy was just a movie? Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
There she is. Wilder Show Scattershoot. All right, all right, all right. If you have not given us a thumbs up or a comment or engaged or like, rate, follow, subscribe, and or share, now is a good time to do it as we begin Scattershoot.
Have you heard the one about the brain surgeon and his wife who walked into a farmer's market? It's not really a joke.
No.
I just thought it sounded like it could be a joke. There
Sure.
was, though, a brain surgeon and his wife who were walking through a farmer's market in Bozeman, Montana a couple of years ago, and they came across what one might come across at a farmer's market. It was a booth where they were selling puppies. A breeder was selling puppies. So this breeder, who's called Svalin, Svalinn. He was touting these puppies as a one-of-a-kind hybrid, military-grade protection dogs with elite danger-sensing instincts, but the warmth and temperament of a family pet.
Okay, let me guess. So it was either a Belgian Malinois or it actually was a wolf.
Well, yes and no. Let me give you a little bit more detail. So the brain surgeon and his wife, they'd had dogs before. They loved dogs. And the dogs did seem magnificent, intelligent, and powerful. I guess he had a couple of full-grown dogs and also puppies. But guess how much they cost? You could walk away from the farmer's market there in Bozeman, Montana with the dog for...
All right, let me see. What would I get?
Do you want me to tell you a little bit more about the dogs first and you can guess?
Not yet, because I'm thinking about other things I have to spend on at the farmer's market. Yeah. I have to get some fresh corn. And I have to get
tomatoes.
Also some tomatoes.
Get some tomatoes.
Love the tomatoes. When they're in season, I love to get some fresh peaches, though you have to eat those very quickly.
Yeah.
Or you could can them, I suppose.
Maybe.
So
I wonder what's good at the farmer's market in Bozeman, Montana.
That's a good question. Probably, I would guess vegetables are key there.
You could probably get some soap and some jelly too.
Yeah, some soap and some jelly, probably a candle.
Candles, yeah.
Maybe some homemade greeting cards.
You're on the right track.
I would say when I tally all that up, let me see, you have to get a little bit of fruit, a little bit of vegetables. Brings me to about $13.
Oh wait,
and then
you're going to have to go higher.
No. The dog's not in yet. I think the dog's going to be. I was trying to add it all up together. So I've got a little bit of vegetables. I've got a greeting card, a couple of candles, and a couple of bars of soap. A couple of things of fruit. I'm at $24.95.
Okay,
I'm going to guess $30,000, $24.95.
You're a little bit off. $150,000.
No way.
So, of course, the wife really wants the dog. And the husband, the brain surgeon, says, there is no way I'm going to spend that kind of money. Are you out of your mind? So they left the farmer's market, thought about it a little bit more, kept thinking about it. We're actually sort of surprised by how these dogs were on their mind. They have two now.
$300,000.
$300,000 worth of dog. So you mentioned Belgian Malinois. Each dog is an undisclosed mix of Dutch Shepherd, German Shepherd, and Belgian Malinois. So they go through all of the obstacle courses. They're obviously protection dogs, but the difference between these and other high dollar protection dogs is that those dogs are usually nothing but menace. They're not good family dogs.
Yeah, if you have a Belgian Malinois, it is not good with family. It is not good with kids. It is not good with other pets. It is not good with other dogs. I mean, it is the military dog.
Exactly.
It looks sort of like a German Shepherd with a blacker face and a slightly smaller body.
So somebody else who has one of these dogs says that he feels like he has a gentle Navy SEAL in the house.
There you go. I know somebody like that.
So an actual gentle Navy SEAL.
That's right.
Yeah, but so they sell this breeder sells no more than 20 dogs a year. there are only about 350 of them around the world. And there's no reason I'm not saying the brain surgeon's name. It's just kind of fun to talk about, the brain surgeon and his wife at the farmer's market. But yeah, he said when he knew something was different was that he said he knew of a lot. They'd had a lot of protection dogs like this. But he said when he reached out his hand, the dog kind of nuzzled his hand a little bit, unlike anything they'd ever had before in terms of a protection dog. Yeah. So I just thought this was fascinating. 20 dogs a year, only 350 existing around the world. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is. I think it's crazy on a couple of fronts. Spending that much money on a dog is insane.
I agree. And
I thought you were going to say that if she really wanted the dog, he didn't really want her.
No.
If you have to have the dog, golly, that is crazy though.
How much money do you have to be making
to
even consider $150,000 for a dog, and not just one, but two of them?
Right. And the other thing is, of course, as we all know, whether we get a rescue dog or whether we get a dog from a breeder or whether we get whatever, the purchasing of the dog is not the end of the expense. And when you're talking about a dog that's that valuable, you got to have, I guess, life insurance on it, health insurance on it. You have to have all kinds. You would
think so.
Yeah, all kinds of things. You have to have GPS tracking, everything you would want to protect your almost 1/3 of $1 million investment on 4 paws.
You would have to
8 paws.
You would have to be as protective of the dog as you want the dog to be of you.
Yeah.
Like, who's really in protection mode now, the dog or you guarding your investment?
Think about this. Would they spend more money on their kids or on those 2 dogs?
Well, see, that's just it. If they have kids, what did they spend on college?
People are out of control. This is one of those things where you have people who just have to be in the next big thing.
That does bring up, though, our friend Kathy Emmons, who has she has 1 cat now.
Yes.
And the cat's name is Princess Charlotte. And she always says, don't say, around her that we got her on Craigslist.
On the dog, on the cat.
Yeah, because
don't say around the cat.
Yeah, she thinks she was much more expensive. That way we don't want her to know that we got her for free on Craigslist. Yeah, she feels like she's far more valuable than that. A study from the UK. I love movies.
I know.
I love movies. I love how movies can be sort of fantastical, but also can sort of be a mirror to ourselves.
Sure.
It can be. I love the movies that we don't see in the theaters very much anymore. The realistic sort of slow moving. They don't get as much attention. A lot of those go straight to streaming. We see a lot of Marvel things on the big screen, and DC and all those universes that I'm not very, very I'm not really invested in. I'm not really interested in. I don't know a lot about. Yep. But one thing that I found that's very interesting, of the 100 highest grossing films in the UK from 2023 through 2025, so over 2 years, 6 of those films, 6 of the highest grossing films starred an actor named Chris as the lead character.
Really?
So not his character in the movie.
His real life name.
Yeah. Think Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, those Chris's.
Okay.
Some of them might have been in more than one. But only 5 of them, only 5 of the highest grossing films in the UK from 2023 through 2025 featured an actress above the age of 60 as the face of the movie.
Yeah.
I've never felt less interesting in my whole life. But listen to this. It gets worse. I would love to tell you it gets better, but it doesn't. The Chris numbers pale in comparison to the success and the use of talking animals, who are 4 times more likely to be front and center in a film than a woman over 60.
That's funny.
4 times. It's a little sad, but I guess it's funny.
No, I mean funny odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So they named a few of them. Jennifer Saunders in Alleluia. I'm not sure I even know that movie. Nia Vardalos, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Diane Keaton was one of them in Book Club, The Next Chapter. And then Demi Moore in The Substance. Jamie Lee Curtis in Freakier Friday. There are so few of them that they're easy to name and just list right there. We couldn't even, I don't have enough space in my computer for the movies that starred talking animals and did better than the movies that featured women over 60. Yeah, think of the Chris's, the Chris Pratts, Chris Pines, Chris Hemsworths. It's pretty sad.
Chris Rock. But he
he's
wasn't.
not one
He
of
wasn't
them,
in
but
any.
put him in a movie,
Yeah.
he'd probably do. Would probably gross more than a movie with a woman over 60.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think a lot of those movies that did so well are those fantasy movies. Like that. I looked up to see the other day the highest grossing stars and the movies they were in.
Yeah.
And like 8 out of 10 were in the whatever universe of
The Marvel universe.
Marvel
or
universe.
the DC universe. Yeah.
Yeah. So and all the actors who were in those, they have been in movies that generated a lot of money, but they weren't in the category like we've talked before about that was the one star of the movie, like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible or Tom Cruise in Hot Gun, Glue Gun.
You're thinking about Tom Cruise's crafting.
Tom Cruise in Glue Gun.
Yeah.
Glue Gun. Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible or Tom Cruise in Top Gun.
You mean those other movies don't really have leads?
Not so much. And they have the lead in those movies is not a person. It is the idea of fantasy, which is Avatar, a good example. Avatar, you might have a quote lead character, but for the most part, it's the whole thing. It's the Blue Man Group.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the whole blue people is the thing.
Wasn't Chris Pratt though in a Jurassic Park movie during 2023, 24, and
maybe.
25?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yeah,
I
maybe
think
so.
that might be one of them. And then I'd have to look up Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine. I know who they are, but I don't know. I don't know that they weren't the lead. There might have been a big cast and a
Hell and High Water.
lot of supporting. Yeah, he's Chris Pine was Hell and High Water.
Great movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Speaking of Chris Pratt, I watched over the weekend. There's something called the Terminal List. Not Terminal List, but Terminal List.
Yeah.
It's a Navy SEAL story written by a guy who I think was a SEAL.
Yeah.
And pretty good. If you're into...
It got terrible reviews.
Oh, did it really?
It really did.
I wonder why.
I'm not sure why.
It was pretty violent.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was okay. It was on, it's not that new, I don't think, is it? Maybe it is that new.
Couple of years.
Oh, is that right? Anyway, I'd heard about it.
Maybe even
I
just
watched
last year.
There were two though. One was Terminal List, and that's the one with Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, with Chris Pratt. And then there was one called, it's a prequel. I think it's called Terminal List Dark Wolf. And it has to do with his buddy, who's played by a guy named Taylor Kitsch. You know who that is?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Texas Forever.
Yeah, I liked it.
Friday Night Lights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he was in it. He is in the whole season of Terminal List Dark Wolf.
Okay.
Which is the prequel, though I think it was put out afterwards, of Terminal List, which he is also in, but with Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is barely in the Terminal List Dark Wolf.
Also, one last thing about the Chris's. One of the Chris's included in that count of 6 is Christian Friedel, who was in a movie called The Zone of Interest.
Okay.
Did you see that?
No.
I think that was a 2024 movie. Took place during World War II. So that was a small movie. That was not something from the Marvel universe or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So I mean those were good movies.
Sure.
And well-made movies and not all, crazy blockbuster movies, and still more Chris's than women over the age of 60.
Interesting.
Yeah, sort of. Sort of sad. If you were looking for a side hustle for the summer, I hate to break it to you that one of the best ones, all of the open spots have been filled. Hidden Valley Ranch was looking for ranch ambassadors in Europe.
Ranch ambassador. What is that?
Ranch ambassadors.
Okay.
Apparently, there's no ranch dressing in Europe.
Really?
How could it be?
No, how could it
How
be?
could they possibly be living without
right,
it? Yeah,
that's
the
right.
position involves traveling all around Europe promoting ranch dressing.
How funny.
The main responsibility to spread the flavor of America abroad.
All right.
So they had more than 6,000 applicants. 70 times as many as a typical job listing for a summer gig. Aspiring ranch ambassadors had all kind of, they sent in their applications. They had all kinds of supplemental material, pictures of their faces on ranch bottles, boxes with scrapbooks and pitch decks started arriving at this hiring manager's office. I think this was even more than she had anticipated. Social media posts would also be a part of the job. So a bunch of the candidates included like ranch-related post ideas in their applications. Videos were coming in from all over the country. There was one candidate who drank a jumbo bottle of buttermilk ranch in 6 minutes.
That's gross.
Another pair slathered themselves. They wanted couples. They were looking for couples. So there was a pair that slathered themselves in ranch while dancing and shaking their bottles like champagne. I can picture it, and I almost wish I could unsee it now that I didn't even really see it. It's just in my mind's eye. There was another one who said that she was filming herself on vacation. She said she didn't pack enough sunscreen, but she could use instead she could use the one thing that she always has enough of. And that was ranch dressing. And then she kind of slathered it all over her face and her neck. Did you know that here in America, ranch dressing is even bigger than ketchup?
No way.
It is. More ranch dressing is sold than ketchup. However, Hidden Valley doesn't sell outside of North America. They do have, you can find substitutions that are often called American dressing. Like Cool Ranch Doritos can be referred to as Cool American Doritos.
That's funny. Yeah, so you would apply for the job and you would say, look, I've done sampling at Costco and I've done, are you going to be on a street corner somewhere or just is it go there
I guess,
and spread the news while you were there?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes. So what they said is that the most important quality in an applicant was an expansive sense of possibility. I don't know if I'd call it that, but I think that's a very, what word am I looking for? Not optimistic. It's
aspirational.
It's aspirational. Yeah. It is an aspirational way to describe this job. So they finally decided on two couples, a couple who created the We Love Ranch Instagram account. So you could take a look at that for yourself and see what they did. And then there was also a couple who met on the set of Master Chef. So they're cooks. I guess they know of what they speak. The tour stops will include France, Germany, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, and the UK. And they said they wanted two couples. They did get two couples, but then at the end they decided to throw in a couple of guys who are like Syracuse University students who are big on social media, and they had a lot of great ideas for what kinds of things to do to attract young people. So they really wound up with three. But if you're looking for, if you want to see what some of this entails on social media, you could look up. Now, I've not looked it up, so I can't tell you that you're not going to see lots of really gross things with people spreading ranch dressing all over themselves. So be advised of that. But We Love Ranch on Instagram. You can check it out.
Something I haven't told you about, I've been meaning to, it's months ago now. I was at the grocery store and, sometimes it wasn't Costco, but I was at a grocery store and sometimes they have, a place where they offer you samples. Yeah. And so they have a little tiny cup, little tiny cup of something, and they'll have some of it in there. Maybe it's a crab spread, or maybe it's a new salsa, or whatever. And this woman was there, and she had two items. One, I can't recall what it was, and one was red velvet cake. And so she sees me coming, and she says, would you like to try some of this one thing, whatever it is, and would you also like to get some red velvet cake? And I said, no, thank you. And so she really was sort of offended. I was still sort of rolling past her. And she said, can I ask you something? Are you saying no because you're on a diet? And I said, no. She said, I always want to know because I want to say to people, it's free. I was like, lady, what's going on? I don't want... I don't want, first of all, I don't like sweets. But why are you just... It's
really kind of none of her business.
I'll
make the offer.
I wasn't like super offended, but I was sort of like, if she were there giving samples of an alcoholic beverage, And if somebody said no, thank you, you're going to engage them about what
Find out
where are they on the 12 steps?
Yeah.
Because it's free,
Yeah.
and how could you not want it? I mean,
Did you say no?
I'm here with free stuff, and so I'm kind of wondering, why won't you take my free stuff?
If I do take the sample, sometimes I feel sort of obligated to buy what they're, especially if it's right there. Like this happened to me just a few weeks ago. They had chips and guac, and there was a big display of the chips right here, and then a big display of the guac right there. And here are your coupons. Today you buy one, get one free, and the chips are buy one, get one half off, and you want to taste it right here. And I tasted it. It was really hard for me to leave without it.
No, but that's you're why they do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
the problem.
I thought I had influenced you better than that.
I try to be as mean as I can in as many venues as possible.
I'm in outside of time with me.
Yeah,
there goes sucker.
I did have one more ranch thing that I just thought of.
Don't you love this red velvet cake? Yeah, it's okay. Well, don't you want the coupon? Not really. Well, why not? Because I don't.
They do samples of wine?
Sure do.
Really?
My Kroger and my Albertsons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right at the end aisle, right at the end of the booze aisle.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new wine. Would you like to try it? It's like, no, thanks.
Mm-mm. I told you, my oldest son was in town a few weeks ago, and we made pizza one night. Yeah. And the pizzas are out of the oven, and he's looking in the refrigerator, and he says, "Do you have any ranch?" I didn't have any ranch.
For dipping.
Yeah, no. I ran to the grocery store to get some ranch. First, though, I asked my neighbor across the street. I texted her and asked if she had any ranch, and she said no. And she saw me leaving the house to go get it. And I said, if he lived here, I would not be going to the store to get ranch. But since he's not, it's kind of, special thing. I'm going to go buy some ranch. And she said, what is it with boys and their ranch dressing?
That's true.
So maybe is it a bigger thing for guys?
I like ranch dressing, sure. Yeah. One thing, just a hint, since not everybody likes lots of ranch dressing, and I've had it be the case that it goes bad, you can buy those little individual cups.
Oh, yeah.
And that's easy.
I used to do those for lunches.
Open one of those and use it for dipping or use it for salad dressing. Yeah. I'm a fan. That is the Wilder Show podcast. Instagram, find us there. Search Wilder Show Pod. Email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Also TikTok every now and again. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share, and we will appreciate that. And Lauren, thank you.
You are welcome.
And we'll see you next time.